Welcome to Factorio Space Age. My name is Nilaus and we are back here with more designs, working on our way towards getting more legendary items. And what we're looking at here is not for today. This is the alternative to what we're going to do today. This is a space casino. It's super amazing and awesome, and don't worry, I'll put this one into the replay, the blueprint pack, but it will be something we'll be working on in the next episode. But first, I wanted to show you an alternative to this, because the space casino, the purpose of it is to take materials and get them, in this case, make them into legendary quality iron ore. And I've been thinking, like, wouldn't it be nice if there was possible to do some things on a planet instead of doing this one. So basically what we're going to do today is we're going to go on Vulcanus. We're going to do a design for getting some, we're going to use legendary iron plates as our template, and just try to sort of see if it's possible to do legendary upcycling of iron plates on Vulcanus in case the space casinos will get nerfed in 2.1. Now, we don't know. There's been an indication, but there's been no confirmation. There has been no idea when it's coming out. So I will still use the space casinos and LGS shuffles until they stop working. But for science and academia, let's design something today. Also, if you don't like the idea of space casinos, then I'm going to give you some idea on what else we could do instead. So what we're going to do is we are going to use do the iron build. And already here we have the problem. This is the core of the problem, is that since this is a molten input or a liquid input, then we can't choose the quality, and therefore this is what we have. So what we're going to do is we are going to get these out here. We're going to get them out in quality here, and then I am going to set a module in here, and I'm going to put a speed module in. So that this might already be looking really weird to you, because without this you get 24.8, and with this you only get 12.3% quality, so you're only getting half the quality outbound. On the other hand, you're also just getting way more outbound. So if we do this, then we can look at this and say, okay, so here we get 30 outbound, and we get 30 per second, and we get out of that we get 0.248 is quality. So we get 9.9 quality per second from this build. But if we worked over like this, then we would get 264.4 multiplied by now the 0.123 quality percentage, and that is 32.52 quality items per second. So definitely we're getting more quality items. So this is a better for sort of the footprint size, and since the cost is only lava and a little bit of calcite, this is a better build in my opinion. There might differ of opinions, but this is just how I like doing it. There's also the option of making it with quality here, and then getting more items out, but I don't want to do that because, again, the inputs are free, so I don't need to get any. Don't need to worry about the inputs at all. So this, yeah, let's make it like this. I think that's fine. This will then be the inputs, which will be super simple here. And 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. There. And that should be at ratio. So now, yep, that's a ratio. We can expect to get 264 iron outbound. Out of those, the 32 are going to be uncommon quality or higher, but that means basically a full belt of non-legendary. So we need to do two things. We need to deal with the vast quantity of non-legendary or non-quality items, iron ore, iron plates, and then upcycle those into better quality, and then take the higher quality, the uncommon, the rare, and the epics, and cycle those up to legendary. The thing is, with iron, we have a very efficient formula, and that is using the iron chest, because it only needs iron, and therefore what we basically get is through this step, which we can then get 24.8% chance. That means this step here is you basically get 8 in, and then we get 2. This also needs to get into this one because it needs to go back into iron format. So basically we get 8 of them. There's 24, it's called 25% chance that they upcycle, and then we divide the amount by 4, but again we multiply it by a 25% chance. So there's 2 rolls of the dice here extra to upcycle it for an extra step. So that's very valuable and definitely something we want to do here. What we will do then is we will need to figure out how many we want, and that the answer to that is a lot. Here, if we do this, then we are getting 160 inbound, or we can consume 160, and we remember this is outputting 230. Let's call it 240 outbound for this. But if 240 comes in, then it gets recycled here, and then it'll actually be 1/4 of that will go back, which was another 60. So now we're not looking at 240. We are looking at 240 plus the recycled of that, which is now adding another 60. So we get to 300. Then we need another quarter of the 60 that gets recycled, which is another 15 on top. So now we're up to 315. And then we need a quarter of the 15, and so on and so forth. Which means that I need 320 here, which just happens to be 2 of these builds, and then I am good to go. So if I did get 2 of these builds, that should be able to consume all the normal iron we have and output it as less but in higher quality. So that's the next step of this process. And the final step of the process is to basically get from here, basically that's going to be the same, and we're going to go with the recipe here, that one. Basically saying all the uncommons have to go in here, gets rebroken down into iron parts. Some of them will be broken down and become uncommon again, which will then be recycling here, but the rest will sort of go up, and then we need another build like this for the here, and flip it the other side. You're kind of in the way now. There, this one will then be for the rare quality, and then we need another one again up here for the epic quality, and anything that sort of goes beyond that point will be because it's legendary. And we're gonna have 2 of these because we have more of that. So this is basically the design, and as we can see, it looks like we can pretty much squeeze it in into 1 block. So let's start by making this one. So what I want to do is I want to filter the 2 things aside from each other. I want to say, okay, I'm gonna get the normal quality on a stack belt as fast as possible. Let's get it here. It looks really weird why I'm doing it this way, but I'm doing it because I need it 2 tiles apart for the next part here, and then we do the other one. Goes up here, and that will then be, we'll take the uncommon ones, will also be stacked here. I don't think we'll have that much uncommon, but it's I don't think that's actually necessary, but that doesn't matter. And then this will be rare quality or higher. There. So this is now outputting. This is uncommon or better quality. This is a fully stacked belt of normal quality. Great. So down here we also have, like, let's just call it the usual build. That one, that one. There, this is just to get rid of the stone blocks. So that goes in here, and then we get rid of them by doing trash unrequested, and then we are requesting 100 here. Good, so let's take care of that, and let's take care of this one as well. There. So this should work. We're getting this inbound. Now we need to find a way for this to work. So you need to get a design. Let's see. The normal quality here will be like this, and then we have the uncommon or higher quality just coming out here. So what I need to do is I need to make sure that this can go into, I think we're too far away. It has to be like this. 2 tiles away? Yeah. Okay. And this goes... a little bit too high. There. And these going in here, here, yeah, here. And... we can do this. There we go. And I think the whole thing needs to be shifted over by one tile extra. The reason why is because this has to merge in here. Like this. And then you can grab it here. And those are the options. I know this is super weird, but I don't want it to take up more space than I need. So, there. That's a thing. Now this is also going down here and going up to this location, because then it can merge with you. Alright, so up here we now have that residual, and I think this part is replicated over here. Okay, so now what this is doing is consuming all of the iron. That's good, and we can also just squeeze it a lot closer, like this. So now we are eliminating every single bit of normal iron, and that means the only thing we have left is up here. This is the uncommon or better quality. So this needs to be filtered out on uncommon quality, and also on this side, like this. I do think that this may need, it shouldn't be necessary, but it should always process the stuff that is recycled first. I think this has to go a little bit up, and these have to go as far down as possible, like this. And that is input and output, and then it has to go back up on a, oops, there. And then we need another power pole maybe here. Good. Yeah, and you are also going to be here, and then sit inbound, down, and back out. And because it doesn't matter what we're getting, it just means that whatever we're getting, we have to send it here, because then it gets filtered in again. And then we can take these two, and then they'll be moving up again. Let's try the next one. This one probably needs to be a little bit closer, and this one should be the same spot. And we're gonna go up here, get a... This will then be you. In, and out. And then again, I think it's important that we remember that these get priorities, and you are gonna get that priority. Goes in, back, there. And that means anything that comes up here will now be the legendary, and only legendary, because everything else gets crushed. And this monstrosity is seemingly working, but why is it not working? What went wrong with this? Probably this one got stuck before we did the filter scrub properly. Yeah. So of course it's going to take a little bit of time before it gets started. What do you have here? You have... This should work. But why is... This is so weird. What is not working? There we go. So there was something in the way. And there we go. So now what we're seeing, what we should be seeing, is that it will never really be full, because it's gonna flow. So this one, and I know that some people might think, hey, what about this one? Isn't it better if I just put a single what if we put a single one in here? Because as we were looking at this one, I was confidently saying that it was better to use, but what if another option is to put a single one in? Because now that's still a large number, it's 147, and the quality is now 18.6. So let's do that. So it's 147 times 0.186. That's 27. So it's actually really close to the same as that one, but it's still less. And what we really want is we just really want a highest quantity possible. So this is why this is the best one for our task here. And if we look at this, what you see that we're already generating some. What I like to do is I would like to set this one up for and run it for from the get-go for a full half hour. The way we're going to do that is we're going to set it up here. We can pause it, and then we can pause it, and then I can take this build. I can also place it where I want it to be built. Let's say like this is probably nice, and then I'm going to also flip it and build another one on the other side. Let's see. No. Two from the side and flip it, and then two from the side. There we go. So this is basically how I want this to be built. Here and there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to start it, let it run for, first we're going to do this so it gets the power. Then I'm going to run it for half an hour, and then we'll see how much we get after half an hour, so we get sort of a nice running average. So it is now stopped after 30 minutes of runtime, and we can see that there's nothing sort of built up on the belts. So it's looking like there's no bottlenecks here, and it's just performing. So with these two boxes, we have 2,300 and we have 2,100. The reason why this is slower is simply because the time it takes to bring in the beginning, bring this part in. And that's unfortunately, yeah, it took a little bit of time for us to get started, but that. And then there's another variation. So I've added the numbers up here, and then if we divide by 30, then we get 149 per second, or per minute, and that would be, again, about 2.4 per second. So 2.5 per second, which is really nice, I think. This here, so each of these builds produce a little more than 1 per second. And if we want to sort of get a baseline for how this compares, well, if we look in space, this space casino here is generating, but that's generating the iron ore, legendary iron ore, but that legendary iron ore is generated at 70 per second. So, and with 50% productivity, which you can get in the furnace with legendary, that would be 105 per iron ore per second. So you're basically looking at a city block size that generates 2.5 per second versus something in space that doesn't take any space on the ground and is multi-threaded because it's on a different layer. Then it's generating 105. So quite a significant discrepancy, I would say, and it's a little bit too big of a discrepancy to just ignore it. But you can also just, on the other hand, say, do you need 70 per second? You probably don't, unless you're needing it for legendary science. And if you don't need it for legendary science, you just need it to craft materials. Then maybe adding 4 blocks like this, then you have 10 legendary iron plates per second, and that might be just what you need for all your iron and iron needs. You can do the same thing with steel. If you don't want to use the LDS shuffle, then you just need to replace these with the boxes. Of course, the ratios would be steel boxes, then the ratio would be slightly different, but the principle is the same. You can't do it with the iron gears because you don't really have any good recipes for iron gears. If we just look at this one here, that one. If we look at this, there's nothing really good to make legendary gears. There's no ingredient that only uses iron gears. The best one that has the highest ratio of gears to anything else is the underground belt, and that's still express underground belt. That still requires lubricant and fast underground belts as well, which you need in several different qualities, and it's just an absolute mess. So don't like that particularly. I was just thinking if this one might be an option. Like this could be an option, making submachine guns. I don't know, but it's also like a really slow build. So there's a lot of factors going in. So it's not really great for that. And copper is not great for either. But copper, you get that from LDS Shuffle. So this is just going to be a short little cute build. Just basically looking at a proof of concept. Can you do legendary upcycling without using a space casino? Yes, you can. It's just not very efficient. But then that's also why it might potentially get nerfed, because it was too good. This will get you all you need, and this blueprint is of course available to Patreon supporters. Also, I have included the Space Casino, even though that will be in an upcoming episode. So thank you very much for watching, hope you enjoyed it, and thank you everyone who's supporting on Patreon and watching the live streams as we design this. Until next time, take care and stay effective.